From the campus of Glassboro High School in Glassboro, New Jersey, the Gloucester County Educational Network presents high school football. This afternoon, it's the South Jersey Group 1 Finals as the Glassboro Bulldogs host the Paulsboro Red Raiders. Hello again, everyone. Rob Christ along with my partner, Shawn Leary. A beautiful afternoon here in Glassboro. It's cold, but it's sunny and a little bit of wind. We should have a nice day for football, all in all. Shawn, these are two teams that are no strangers to the South Jersey Group 1 Finals. These two teams have won 7 of the 9 championships in the 2000 era. These are two teams that many people didn't expect to be here. Glassboro beating Pennsville in a mild upset. Paulsboro defeating Woodbury in a larger upset.
Yeah, let's start with Paulsboro because that is a huge upset in my opinion. In the first game that those two teams played, it looked like Paulsboro coming into the playoff game wouldn't have a chance. They got beat up at the line of scrimmage. Somehow, Glenn Howard, the Paulsboro pride kicks in. Paulsboro was able to redirect their focus on the offensive line and played a phenomenal game against Woodbury and came back and really stunned Woodbury. They put their heart into the game. They came out with passion. They may have that same passion today coming off the heels of all the suspensions. A lot made of that. Channel 6 came out and had something to say about that as well. And you come out with that same type of passion and hunger. You can see when at the high school level, if you have that passion, you have a chance at any football game. So a huge win for Paulsboro, even to make it to this point. But this is their time of year.
On the other side of the ball, Glassboro, typically you expect them to be the favorite, but Pennsville, during the semifinals, came into the game undefeated, started out very, very strong. Glassboro stormed back, and again, you talk about Paulsboro pride. Well, there's some Glassboro pride, too.
Well, it's November, December. So you expect Paulsboro to fix some of the problems that they have? Well, you got to think the same thing for Glassboro. Losing the first game against Pennsville, I think that shocked them a little bit. This is a team that's been beat up all season. From the first scrimmage, they've lost guys, and they've had to mix and match. Some guys playing 5 different positions. But getting healthy at the right time, being able to use that game plan against Pennsville and redirected, adjusted a little bit. They came back able to win, get to this point of the year where they're in the final. I mean, that's what it's all about. Glassboro, Paulsboro, Woodbury, these teams typically in the finals. You thought maybe this year it'd be a crack? No. Paulsboro, Glassboro, another final appearance.
Well, when we talk about the Paulsboro Red Raiders, you always end up talking about the skill positions. Aaron Tilden may be as skilled as anybody on this football team.
Yeah, 802 yards. I think it's 18 touchdowns. This is a kid that has only touched the ball 11 times per game, but he's a breakaway type back. What people have been doing against Paulsboro is they've been stacking the box and trying to limit the running game, and they've had to pass more. I think it's paramount for the Paulsboro Red Raiders to get the running game established at some point in time today. Glassboro is known for its stingy defense and not allowing teams to run the football. Aaron Tilden needs to be getting his touches in this game. He's a playmaker. He's a guy who can get you that quick 6 and run away from a defense, get into a secondary. You need those type of players to elevate their game during a final. He has to have a big game.
Well, on the other side of the football, Glassboro is going to need someone who's going to stop that potent Paulsboro attack. Yesterday in the championship game, we saw how important winning in the trenches is for Glassboro. They're going to rely on Jordan Murray.
Well, Paulsboro has certainly improved in the trenches, and you talk about Aaron Tilden, well, you got to talk on the other side of the ball with Jordan Murray. Jordan Murray leads this team in tackles, Glassboro. He's a defensive tackler. You don't see that much, especially Glassboro. Over the years, it's been the linebacker play who's dominated, got all the tackles. From the defensive tackle position to get that many tackles, that's the reason why you're in the final. It starts at the line of scrimmage. If you have a guy making plays behind the line of scrimmage, making plays at the point of attack at the line of scrimmage, certainly Jordan Murray has made the entire line better, not only on the defensive line, but also on the offensive line. Paulsboro is going to have its hands full right in the middle. You need to establish the running game, well, you're going to need to go through Jordan Murray if you're going to do that.
Well, Shawn talked a little bit about the team that's hungry oftentimes wins. Paulsboro coming into this game suffering from a number of suspensions due to a YouTube incident where they were taunting the Woodbury team. They will rebound. They've had a great week of practice, and I can guarantee you they will be hungry. On the other side of the football, Herb Nealio said a couple weeks ago, this is a team that has to decide whether or not they're hungry enough to win the championship game. I think they woke up in the second half against Pennsville. We'll see who's hungrier today. Stick around for a great football buffet. We'll have it for you right after this. Welcome back to Glassboro High School. About to get underway here. South Jersey Group 1 championship game. Paulsboro and Glassboro. Paulsboro in the white and scarlet. Glassboro in their traditional home maroon trimmed in gold. Macaron to kick it away to James and Clement. Two dangerous return men for this Glassboro team. Glassboro hopes to get off to a quicker start than they did in their South Jersey semifinals against Pennsville.
Clement probably the more dangerous returner with 9 kickoff returns, 176 yards. Here you see the temperature, 40 degrees, a little bit of a wind coming out of the northwest at 13 miles an hour. Sun will not play a factor in today's game, hidden between the clouds, so how many excuses if you don't catch the ball?
Take a look at Herb Nealio, who has really turned things around here for Glassboro High School. And he's done a tremendous job. Yesterday in the championship game between Haddonfield and West Deptford, we saw the referees play a bit of a factor. I think it was a well-refereed game, but despite that, quite a few flags. Each team suffered as a result of it. You see the Bulldog is in attendance along with another fine crowd. Glassboro loves their high school football, and Paulsboro is no different. Another big matchup here in Group 1. Gloucester County always well represented in Group 1. This year, no different. Two traditional powerhouses, and ironically, two teams, despite being traditional powerhouses that many people discounted, would be in this very championship game. You can see the wind is blowing today, relatively strong. It's to the back of Paulsboro, and Macaron just trying to get the football situated and will be forced to use a holder. You see Herb Nealio, that fine career mark here at Glassboro High School.
83 and 18. Herb Nealio taking full control in the Tri-County Conference, one of the premier teams, obviously, annually. This year getting knocked off to Pennsville, but rebounding to win that secondary game of the playoffs.
Kick is away. Macaron's kick taken by Clement back at the 9-yard line. He jukes, finds a seam, and he'll be brought down at about the 30. First down and 10 Bulldogs. This was a team, as we mentioned, that started relatively slowly against Pennsville. These are both teams that aren't afraid to throw the football, but are reliant primarily on the run.
Yeah, Corey Clement getting the return there, and we'll talk about him as the game goes on, but he's probably a star in the making here at Glassboro. Doesn't start, but maybe the team MVP this year.
Stephen Clement, your quarterback for the Bulldogs. Out of the I formation, first down and 10. Clement will hand it off, and a big hole right away. Driving forward is P.J. James.
Yeah, P.J. James, one of the kids who's had to miss some time with injury. A key contributor to this game when you look at P.J. and Christian. Clement, your quarterback at the halfback position. It's P.J. James, Shafon Davis at the fullback. Christian James, Lamont Smith, your wide receivers. And on the line, it's Bolts, Klasky, Remenner, Haltewanger, Murray, and the tight end is Antoine Alicia.
P.J. James coming into today, averaging 10 yards per carry. Heady stuff. Again, the handoff, and it's James once again, and this time not much doing. You know, Shawn, this Paulsboro team suffered a loss to Woodbury, and in large part because of their play in the trenches. Today and last week, it looks like they've shored things up. Let's talk a little bit about that defense.
Well, with Zach Funk, Nick Curl, Austin Im, Anthony Ross playing alongside Deontay Davis. That's the 52 that Paulsboro traditionally runs with Tyree Ellison, Eric McMullen, the linebackers, Aaron Tilden Curry, Victor Calvin Johnson, and Brandon Keene in the secondary.
Third down, about 2. Two receivers split left for Clement. Lone setback, cuts it back outside and dives forward, enough for a first down. Corey Clement had the first down, then ducked outside, didn't have it, and then with his second effort, driving forward, able to get enough. It looked like a poor decision initially, yep, Shawn, but he ended up making up for it.
As I said, doesn't start for this team, but has the most carries for the Bulldogs. 153 carries coming into the game 1,185 yards, 7.7 yards per carry, and 14 touchdowns. There you see the Bulldogs in 2010, 276 yards per game on the ground. They'll air it out for about 70 per game. And points per game, you used to see in Glassboro in the upper 20s, 30s, sometimes even hovering around the 40 mark. 28 points per game this year.
Inside of 10 minutes, opening drive here for the Bulldogs. First down and 10 out of the shotgun. Clement pitches, finds P.J. James. James still on his feet, driving forward, first down.
You know, probably the scorekeeper is probably going to call that a run, but I think that's actually a pass. Although it was behind the line of scrimmage, that ball looked like it was in front of him. That should be labeled a pass. But there you see James and his numbers coming into the game. 105 carries over the century mark with 1,052 yards, 10 yards per average, and 11 touchdowns.
We mentioned before that Glassboro, coming off a win against Pennsville, this is a totally different team when you have 100% P.J. James. Clement bounces outside for a pickup of about 5.
Well, this is about as most this team has been healthy this season. You know, they started off with 2 injuries to this team, and coming into the game, you see Clement's numbers, but they really had a lot of injuries throughout this year and had to suffer through that. And that's part of any team season. That Glassboro just has some depth where they're able to mix and match and move around and still provide some type of a winning season, but they've had to deal with a lot of problems.
This drive started on the 30-yard line. Second down and 5 from the 42 of Paulsboro. Out of the eye. Again, the handoff to James. He pushes forward. He'll be cut down after a short pickup of 2. Third down again here for the Bulldogs.
Christian James, who has 20 carries, 201 yards, plays at that wide receiver position, Rob. He had one of those sprains where he went into the end zone the first game of the year and not only twisted his ankle, but somebody landed on it as well. And he hasn't been right. And that's just something that he's had to try to work through some of that pain and play through it. That's kind of hurt his season, and it's Glassboro hasn't been able to get a flow because they haven't had all their guys out there all the time, including PJ.
Third down and about 4. Screen pass. James, first down, knocked out of bounds.
Knocked out that time by Kyrie Victor, a senior, 5'10", 175 pounds. But there you see the quick pass to Christian James, and James is going to be able to use that speed and the sideline to his advantage. Now watch James, good block. Downfield, terrific block by your wide receiver, and then Christian's just going to turn on the jets and pick up about 10 or 12, not before he's taken out by Victor, but a good job by James using that sideline to his advantage.
Impressive drive here early for the Bulldogs. First down, P.J. James right up the middle, very close to another first down, right at his average of 10 yards. He'll pick up about 9 3/4.
Well, it's a problem when your secondary players right now are making all the tackles. That time it's Calvin Johnson trying to go right through the middle. They're going to go right at Murray. Get a little help from the referee as well. Finally brought down by Victor and Johnson. 2 secondary players, 2 men in the secondary for Paulsboro. That's not something you want to see most of the game. If your guys in the secondary are going to be a little bit short. If your guys in the secondary are making a predominant number of the tackles, Rob, it's not a good sign.
So it is short by about half a football. Second down and 1. Again, the drive starting at the 30-yard line. They have been efficient. Working out of the eye, Clement with his brother, along with the big back. Clement, and that's enough for the first down. Stephon Davis, your fullback there, leading the way for Clement.
You see Corey Clement, and he's a kid. We were talking with the coach Neilio before the game, and he said, MVP might be Corey Clement, and he doesn't even start for us. He gets in a predominant number of snaps, either playing at the running back position. But he's also played fullback, he's played defensive end, he's played linebacker, he's played safety, kicks and punts and returns.
Davis right up the gut. They changed things up, and right now, Glassboro just dominating up front.
There you see Shawn Davis, 5'11", 240 pounds. Watch the fullback. Nice job of blocking. You see up front, number 69, that's Halterwanger, the sophomore, 5'10", 245 pounds, along with 76, Tommy Rementer, a junior, 6 foot, 245 pounds. To the right side of that offensive line, starting to get a little bit of a push to start this game. Paulsboro reverting back to the way they looked right here on Channel 5 against Woodbury, getting pushed off the football.
PJ driving forward, and he'll be very close to a first down, maybe just a hair shy. Well, this entire drive has been on the ground, save for that one rocket screen to Christian James on a critical third down play. They have owned the football. There you get a good chance to see the great crowd on hand this afternoon. Cold outside, but nothing could stop this Glassboro community from coming out and watching championship football. Third down. James inside pushes, and it looks like he'll have enough for the first down. He is past the 5-yard line, so it should be first and goal. And Glassboro just continues to have their way up front.
It started with that first down carry by Davis. They would pick up about 6 or 7 yards on that first down carry. And Paulsboro's held for 1 or 2 yards here or there, but they have to be able to stop Glassboro on first down. The Bulldogs doing a phenomenal job to start things here on first down, picking up good chunks of yards.
Ball placed at the right hash mark. First down and goal at the 4-yard line. Full house backfield, the pitch on the short side. P.J. James, touchdown. Well, how do you score a touchdown here in Glassboro? It's James. And P.J. James strikes first for the Bulldogs.
And not much deception there or anything, just power football. Rob, listen, I'm going to line up against you. We're going to play some power football and see if you could stop us. A very impressive drive by Glassboro to start things. They didn't come out with any crazy formations. Just they lined up, and so far they look like the hungrier team. We talked about that in the open.
Clement's kick is low, and it skips over the crossbar. Well, if that's any sign for the rest of the day, Sean, Glassboro is going to have a good old time.
Here again, they're just going to get behind the right side of that offensive line. Shawn Davis, you're going to see number 12, opens up a hole, and there is plenty of room for PJ to go in for a TD. No problem for Glassboro moving the football. And like I said, Rob, just power football. I'm going to line up against you, and we're going to blow you off the football and off the line of scrimmage and see if you can stop us. That's extremely impressive. And for Paulsboro, and we talked about being hungry.
Now, here's a look at the kick, Sean. We've been doing football for a long time. I don't know that I've ever seen this before. It looked like it almost went off a player, and then like he was skipping rocks, slid right off the crossbar.
Well, it's good for an extra point. I mean, it got over.
Looks like a line drive in a book, right?
Yeah. That's right.
So 5:23 left in this first quarter. Paulsboro has yet to take possession of the football. An impressive drive, 6 minutes and 37 seconds, encompassing 70 yards. All running plays save one, and that was a relatively innocent screen pass.
And that time they were really running right up against Anthony Ross, the 300-pound senior. They were doing it with underclassmen as well, a junior in Rementer and also Halterwanger, the sophomore.
The kick taken at the 15-yard line, and Paulsboro should start with good field position. Tilden is pushed out of bounds at about the 36-yard line. We talked about Aaron Tilden in the open. He's a guy that does a little bit of everything, and they're going to need Aaron Tilden on this drive to step up. As they'll want to answer back. There you see the quarterback, Billy Coleman, Coleman, an impressive resume, 771 yards passing this season for 5 touchdowns and a passing percentage of well over 55%. 1st and 10 for the Red Raiders. This is a much different team than we had seen early in the season. Quick drop, Coleman has his man, and that'll pick up about 8 as pushing forward is Calvin Johnson. Johnson stayed in bounds, and the ball spotted at about the 45. Let's take a look at that Red Raider offense.
Led by Billy Coleman, the quarterback. We talked about Aaron Tilden in the open. The halfback. Fullback is Eric McMullen. Kyrie Victor and Calvin Johnson will split out. Nick Curl, Sal Vernacchio, Pop Little, Austin M. Anthony Ross on the line, and Steve Warren is at tight end.
2nd down and 1. High formation for the Red Raiders and Billy Coleman. And a little mix-up inside, and that's not going to turn out very well. It looked like Coleman and McMullen collided.
Yeah, and cleaning up, that's Russell Williams, a senior defensive end, 5'11", 225 pounds. There you see Russell Williams, opposite Christian James on the defensive line at defensive end. Jordan Murray in the middle, we talked about him and his team leading tackles. Zamir Green and Charles Bolts rounds out the defensive line. Paul James, Shafon Davis, and Sharif Thomas, the 52 with Paul James and Davis. In the secondary, Sharif Thomas, Stephen Clement, Lamont Smith, and Mike Gillespie in the secondary.
We mentioned before that at opening drive, it was all Glassboro up front. We saw that on the last play as well. And another big hit laid out as Aaron Tilden needed just about a yard. I'm not sure he got it. He's going to be short. Shawn, we mentioned this front line of Paulsboro was truly dominated against Woodbury. They retooled it, but right now they're struggling.
Yeah, it looks certainly eerily similar to the way they were manhandled in that Woodbury game, the first Woodbury game. Trying to get to the outside. Good job by James and company. You see also cleaning up on the play, Stephen Clement, the senior. But it looks like Glassboro, so you're going to get the measurement here, just a little bit short. You can see how short it is there. It looks like right now, not only the running backs, but also the secondary is running downwind, where they're running to the line of scrimmage and getting there, where Paulsboro, kind of waiting back on his heels to see what was transpiring. We saw that in the Group 2 final with Haddonfield and West Deptford. West Deptford at times looked that way. And, Glassboro right now playing behind the line of scrimmage. You see the defensive line getting a good push. The cornerbacks allowing the cornerbacks and the safeties to come up and make plays.
They're going for it, and they're going to get it.
They're going to get it, and I think it's a great call. You have to establish some confidence in your offensive line. Give them something to pat themselves on the back for and get them into the game. I think it's an excellent call. As this game has started, you might say, hey, listen, you're starting off at your 50-yard line. You give them the ball. They're already down by a touchdown. Why would you do that? You need to have your offensive line start to gain a little confidence because they've been pushed around a little bit. I think it's a good call to go for it on 4th.
Despite that, 3 plays and barely getting 1 yard. So
they went behind Vernacchio and Curl on that, by the way, the left side of that offensive line.
Coleman, again, some confusion. He'll keep. He pitches. It's wild, and Tilden scoops it up.
That was a perfect bounce for Tilden. Ball, it just broke down. You got a push from the left side of that defensive line. It looked like Russell Williams again getting into the backfield and disrupting that play. That time it's the fake dive to the fullback, and they're going to go to the right side where you go into an option. But Coleman got thrown off a little bit because of the defensive end pushing upfield.
2nd down after no gain. Right now, Paulsboro is a little out of sorts. Coleman, play action pass, gets flushed out of the pocket, throws it up, and just gets rid of the football. Remember, Shawn, that this team essentially has not played since prior to Thanksgiving. Of course, they did have a game against West Deptford, but a number of their players were suspended. And many of those starters. So Paulsboro is still trying to shake off the rust. Get a good look at the Paulsboro faithful on hand. in the game, as they say, Shawn, this Paulsboro community travels well.
Yeah, lined up against the fence. This is a historic rivalry. You expected a big crowd. Nice day.
Third down. Again, Coleman throws. Has his man underneath, and it's tipped up, and that will fall incomplete as Johnson went up with one hand only.
That's just speed on speed. You're going to try to get Johnson do a 20-yard out pattern, and the good arm. You can see that Billy Coleman has a good, strong arm, able to get that football out there in good position for his receiver to come down to it, but too much coverage. You have Sharif Thomas, who's going to be able to close the senior. I think passing, you're going to have quick hitters against this Paulsboro team because they are against Glassboro, and conversely against Paulsboro because there's too much team speed. They'll be able to react to the pass.
Paulsboro taking a long time to punt it away, but it's a good one. Taking it inside the 15-yard line. This is James. James cuts back.
Yeah, that's a block in the back.
And there's going to be a penalty all the way back at the 15. So field position will be an issue here to start this second drive for the Bulldogs.
You're doing the bump. That's all it was. It wasn't a real big block in the back. We just bumped him a little bit, and it was a good call. Remember doing the bump, right?
I was not a big bump guy.
Wasn't that a disco thing? I could see you in your platform shoes.
I wasn't even born during.
Yeah, right. You kidding? That was your heyday. I think you sang with the
Although
Gap
I
band.
do have a pair of shoes with goldfish in my heels. So yes. Remind me to feed him a little later.
I could see you being a big
when
YMCA fan.
No. I don't think I've ever stepped inside of a YMCA, frankly.
No? See last year's 2009, the South Jersey Group 1 semifinal. Paulsboro manhandling Glassboro in that one, 35-0. Paulsboro eventually losing to Woodbury in the Group 1 final.
Handoff, not a whole lot there as Glassboro starting deep in their own end. The ball at the 6-yard line as the clock continues to tick away. This is just the second possession for Glassboro. They started the game driving down the field 70 yards. And now with 2:10 remaining, second down, we'll call it 8.
I would have bet you would have been a disco guy.
You're still on the disco thing, huh?
I don't know.
In all seriousness, a little bit before my time with disco thing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Liar.
Second down for the Dogs. Cutting against the grain, and a pickup of about 4 or 5 will bring up a makeable third down and 3.
Yeah, Glassboro just getting healthy at the right time of the year, and no excuses were presented by coach saying, listen, Pennsville's a good football team. They were able to beat us on the field. Good group of kids. They played well together. Against Camden, they did have some injuries. They had to sit a few people in that game, but this is a team that really hasn't been healthy until they started the playoffs against Gloucester. Now they have everybody back. They did have a problem in the secondary. Did lose one of the guys for the year.
Third down and 3, the handoff. It's going to James. James driving forward. That's a first down.
That has a lot to do with the team's success, especially with all the talent level that's here at Glassboro, Paulsboro, Woodbury. You need to be healthy at the right time of the year, especially come playoff time.
Clock will restart now as we approach the end of the first quarter, inside of 50 seconds remaining. And the Glassboro Bulldogs on top 7-0 in the South Jersey Group 1 Championship. Haddonfield last night in an upset defeating West Deptford at West Deptford 16-8. Today, Group 3 and Group 4 going on along with this Group 1.
Nice job. Good job of tackling inside, making sure that he wraps up. Paulsboro this isn't one of their biggest squads. They got a couple big boys along the front, but this is even the linebackers. They're built on speed and getting to the football. And for that reason, they need to make sure that they wrap up. They have to be able to wrap up and stop at the point of attack.
We are through 1 quarter of play here at Glassboro High School. South Jersey Group 1 championship game. Glassboro on top by 7. Welcome back to Glassboro High School. Rob Christ along with Shawn Leary here on the Gloucester County Educational Network. We start the second quarter with Glassboro on top 7-0. Second down and 8. The Bulldogs from their own 22-yard line will go right back to P.J. James. He'll stretch it outside. James around the far end. James still on his feet. First down. A big pickup of 23 yards. First and 10 at the 45.
And again, the terrific blocking downfield, especially by the wide receiver. They're going to get him for a hold. But still, the wide receivers are doing a good job of not allowing the Paulsboro defensive backs to get anywhere near these ball carriers. You know, it's doing a lot from the safeties cleaning up the player, linebackers coming from the backside.
By the way, while we take a look at the holding penalty here, congratulations goes out to St. Joseph Hamilton and Holy Spirit, 2 South Jersey parochial schools that are now state champions. Of course, in the state of New Jersey, Shawn, they call themselves state champions, the public schools, but they're truly not state champions because they don't play for a state championship. What do you think about extending the season? You have 4 groups playing a couple more weeks and determining a state champion.
I think now, I'm pretty sure Michigan was the only other team that did not have a true state champion. I might be, oh no, Michigan did. It was some other state. Some other dumb state didn't have state championship.
Send your letters to Shawn Leary.
Hey, it's stupid. You know, you should have a state champ. I know coaches don't agree with me, but
I don't know that that's true. I mean,
well, there might be 1 or 2. There's some of the purists that
I think a lot of coaches would agree with you.
I think it still should be a state. There was 2.
I don't
2 in the
with
entire country.
The stupid Michigan comment, but I agree with the idea of having a state championship. They do it in just about every other sport.
I don't know anybody in Michigan, so I don't really care. I think Michigan has it. They have like 6 groups. I mean, if they're able to do it, and as big as Michigan is, and as big as Texas is, I just don't see why that New Jersey couldn't follow suit and put together some type of a schedule that can include a state championship.
I mean, in theory, if you started a week earlier and then concluded a week later, right?
Yeah.
You get the job done. Right. Third down. Bulldogs after the holding penalty working out of the eye. Clement rolls. A lot of time. Throws it deep across the middle and just too much for his man looking for Lamont Smith.
Well, they're trying to go up top and trying to stretch the defense a little bit. Here, watch the good protection that time. You're seeing James being able to throw the defense off with the 2 play fakes. Drops back, has plenty of time, going to air it out. And if one thing, you're going to stretch it out a little bit and maybe try to get the middle of the field open. Good coverage down the field. You got to give credit to also Keene, a junior, 5'11", 165 pounds.
Smith coming on late for special teams here. And Glassboro forced to punt it away. 10:27 left now in this second quarter.
Good punt.
Wow. And that's going to sail all the way back to the 34-yard line. Tilden still on his feet. Tilden approaching midfield, and he'll get to the 50-yard line. 1st and 10, Red Raiders. Remember, the wind to the back of Glassboro. You take a look at the many sectional titles here in Paulsboro, all the way back to 79. And it's been quite some time since Paulsboro has won one. I mean, we say that. I mean, it's only 3 years ago or 4 years ago, essentially. But for Paulsboro, that's a drought.
It is a drought. Like they owned the beginning of the 2000s with the great teams. And when Nick Curl's older brother was here, some of the other tremendous teams that part of that Paulsboro program in the early 2000s.
It used to be they didn't even play the season for a championship. They would just play to determine everybody's record because it was a given that Paulsboro was going to win the championship.
Yeah.
Things have changed. The landscape has changed. Shalleck had a nice little run, and Glassboro, we have seen, has emerged as a power, and of course last year Woodbury.
Woodbury, the last couple of years, have had some really nice teams. And frankly, I'm surprised, and I'm honest in saying that Woodbury was able to knock off Paulsboro. You got to give Paulsboro tremendous credit to come back in that second game and beat Woodbury. But they need a little more of the same now. They need to get a little push from that offensive line, get a mean streak going, and realize that they're in a South Jersey final.
Second down and short. Glassboro had jumped off sides on first down, so that helped. Only one first down so far for the Red Raiders. They've only had one possession. Second down, we'll call it 2 at the 42-yard line.
See Glenn Howard. A nice play call here on second down.
Tilden working out of the Wildcat. Tilden spins, drives, first down. So a little wrinkle here for the Red Raiders. Tilden getting the direct snap, working out of the Wildcat. I don't know if they call it the Wildcat here. You know, every team likes to kind of put their spin on it. Rutgers calls it the Wild Knight. What do you think they would call it here at Paulsboro, Shawn?
Called, I don't know. I guess the Wild Raider.
Wild Raider?
I don't know.
Aren't all Raiders wild? I guess that would be appropriate though, right? Wild Raider.
So you couldn't go Big Red because that would be your big package. You bring a couple tight ends, a couple extra linemen, goal line. You know, bring in the Big Red.
I like that. First down at 10. Coleman. The old pitch to Tilden, and he's in trouble. Tilden tripped up. A fine shoestring tackle made. And I tell you what, Stephen Clement has come up large here already today.
Yeah, you know what? And there's a play that's not, you know, you're not going to see anything in the box. Sean Warren's going to do a good job of not doing something. All right, watch it here. Sean Warren, number 31, is going to come back. And here he can block in the back and just lets it go. And it could have been a costly 10-yard penalty, but he lets the play go. Sometimes those things, you don't see them. They don't come in the box or anything like that. But that's just a good job of using his patience in his head, not saying I'm going to push it and get another block in the back and push it back even further.
That's a good pickup on that, Hawkeye. I like that. And you're absolutely right. We see how many times foolish plays can hurt a team. There, illustrating his smarts, making sure there was no penalty. And despite there being a loss, it could have been much worse. Timeout called here by Glenn Howard and the Red Raiders. Well, this offense has certainly struggled here early. Last week, of course, when they played West Effort, they were a team without many men. They ended up not scoring at all. There you see Glassboro with the many sectional titles.
Many appearances as well.
2 in the last 3 years. But last week against West Effort, as I mentioned, Paulsboro shut out. And the week prior to that, Paulsboro scored 10 points in the first half and won 10-0. So now in the last 7+ quarters, this Red Raiders football team has yet to score a point. That's a problem.
Yeah, that is. And you know what? In years past, they had a guy like Kevin Johnson. They've had some guys that could be that quick 6 guy, you know, that home run hitter that can break away for a 60-yard touchdown. They really don't have that on the roster. You know, they don't have those type of guys. They've had to methodically move the ball downfield. That doesn't mean they don't have the ability with Tilden. I mean, Tilden with 16 touchdowns coming into the season knows how to find the end zone, but they just don't have the big play guys on a consistent basis. Somebody like an Anthony Averett at Woodbury, somebody like Paul James here at Glassboro. You know, just not on the roster. But they do have the ability to move the ball.
Coleman, deep drop, throws it out, and he'll miss his man. Well covered was Keir Victor.
And that time, little rush by Christian James right through the middle of the defense and, that offensive line, and kind of disrupts what Billy Coleman wanted to do with the football, just trying to get rid of it.
Victor, the leading receiver on this Paulsboro football team, and Glassboro has played solid defense. They always say defense wins championships. We saw yesterday in that West Effort Haddonfield game, it was defense that ruled the day, despite both having high-powered offenses. This afternoon, no different.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a high-scoring game, but Haddonfield's defense and Frank Delano with a terrific game plan was able to shut down that incredible West Effort offense.
Working out of the eye, Coleman, again a deep drop. Coleman throws into the flat, overthrows his man! Picked off across the 50 to the 40, and finally pushed out of bounds is Clement. I mentioned before, Shawn, he's had himself quite a game. Well, he's just added to his resume. You can see that whole play developing from up here, Shawn.
Yep.
Clement just waited
Absolutely.
for that pass to be overthrown, and frankly, the only thing that surprised me was that it didn't go for 7.
He leads the team now with his 4th interception, and this ball is just going to float. And again, that long pass, I just think against the speedy defenses, both of them, it's just you're asking for problems. I think it's got to be quick hitters today. This time, Clement is able to react to the football, gets a good jump, and the ball floated on Coleman.
Pitch, James finds a seam, and he'll pick up about 8 or 9. Right now, everything going Glassboro's way.
You know what? Last night we had done the Haddonfield West Upper game, and you could see that Haddonfield came out with the chip on its shoulder. I mean, you really saw that on the field, on the sideline. You felt it from the West Upper sideline. You just felt it. This is eerily similar, where you have Glassboro coming out with the chip on its shoulder, and Paulsboro just doesn't look like it has any emotion whatsoever.
2nd down and 2 at the 13-yard line. 7 minutes remaining in this first half. Again, it's James. James finding a hole and exploiting it all the way down to the 5-yard line. First down, Glassboro. Right now, the Red Raiders have no answer for the Bulldogs.
And what I'm saying is this. It looks like Paulsboro is reacting. I'm not saying that they don't care. It just doesn't seem like they're reacting. Or they're just reacting to what Glassboro is doing. You don't see somebody come flying through the line of scrimmage trying to make a play. You can excuse where a guy is trying to use that aggression, trying to make a play behind the line of scrimmage and misses. Right now, it's everything's they're being. It's almost they're waiting to see what Glassboro is going to do.
Again, working out of the eye. Clement with 2 receivers set, will hand it off to P.J. James, and James explodes up the middle. They'll be held just shy of the goal line. And I think that play right there is a good indication. You see the explosiveness of James, and you just don't get that same fire. Here, the Bulldogs will go hurry up, not allow Paulsboro to reset. And Clement pushes forward. Clement, and we have a holding penalty here. This play's coming back.
Certainly looks that way. They're gonna.
Well, they were helping the
right.
the runner, and that is illegal.
What you can't do is you can't physically come from behind, try and push the runner from his backside into the end zone or on any play. You don't see that called often, Rob. I've seen it a number of times. This is even a rule in the NFL. And it's not often called. It's called once in a while toward the goal line, but you don't see it.
That's just a 5-yard penalty. So 2nd down and goal from just outside the 5-yard line.
You can't fault the referee for calling. I mean, it's definitely a rule. It's just not something we used to say.
Inside of 6 minutes left now. 2nd down. Clement setting the offense. Pitches, James driving, James.
That's a heck of a play.
Fine play made as Paulsboro's Eric McCullen.
Eric McMullen's going to come in, and that's what I'm talking about. Not reacting to the play, going after the ball carrier and showing a little bit of fire in your belly, and that's what Eric McMullen just did from that linebacker position. Watch number 5 here. Now, he's not going to react. He's going to go straight to the football. Make the play at the line of scrimmage. Good tackle. Everything to perfection that time by the linebacker. Excellent job. The first time I've really seen in this game some type of inspirational play by Paulsboro.
3rd down and goal from the 2-yard line. Timeout, Paulsboro. Well, Paulsboro's been burning their timeouts, but it's hard to fault them here, Shawn. This is a critical play.
Yeah, you're going to try to find the right mix here to.
You see Glenn Howard, who's had a storied career here as a coach. Of course, played previously professionally in the USFL and You know, these Group 1 coaches have become very familiar with one another. I know that Glenn Howard and Zach Valentine have a tremendous affinity for one another, a tremendous amount of respect, and the same can be said for these two coaches today.
You have to love Glenn Howard. He's just really one of the nicest guys that you're going to meet. You know, he knows the game, but even he's a great coach, but might even be a better person. He's helped out a lot of his kids, trying to get them in the right paths to excel. Good family man. Now, I mentioned McMullen. Interestingly enough, against Collingswood, in a comeback, he had 115 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game. Again, adverse time, backs against the wall. You're looking to those type of guys to be in that situation to make a play for you. And he comes up and makes a play on 2nd down, forcing the 3rd down. Now you need to feed off that. Somebody else needs to say, listen, I'm going to back Eric McMullen. This is a guy that came in, had the broken elbow at one point. A lot of guys said, it was very inspirational seeing him go through that and come back and play the way he's been able to play.
So a different set here. 2 men split right, only one guy out there covering them. So we got a mismatch here, and instead they'll run it right up the middle, and touchdown!
They're just going to split out James and Sharif Thomas. Try to open the field a little bit, get less bodies jammed up in the middle of the field. Go right behind the big boys. Right behind center with Klasky, the junior, 5'9", 195 pounds.
Corey Clement on to attempt the point after. Increase the lead to 14. Kick is up, and the kick is good. 14-0.
Yeah, they're going to spread 3 wide receivers. It's going to open up the middle of the field. They're going to get behind Remenner, Klasky, Bolts, all the big boys. A lot of beef in the middle of that offensive line. Glassboro is just going to run up behind them in for the 2nd score of the game. Now you're down by a couple of touchdowns, Rob. I think it's important for Paulsboro to at least get something going. Try to establish some type of a running game. I think it's going to be difficult to be able to pass on this Glassboro team. Too much speed to be able to react to the football. I think they need more slants, maybe a screen. Use Glassboro's aggression against them. Try to move them upfield and see if you can slip a screen in. But they need to start to establish some type of a rhythm on offense.
5:07 remaining. Paulsboro really hamstrung offensively thus far. Of course, the big play there, the interception of Coleman from Stephen Clement. Tilden back to receive along with Turner. It's going to be Turner. They'll take it at the 9. Turner across the 30-yard line. Turner cut down at about the 38, but this is coming back. There is a penalty. Well, if there's any doubt about it, Shawn, it's definitely wintertime.
Yeah. Evident by, I think I still have feet, because I'm not sure that I feel them any longer.
This is when you make your Christmas list, heat in the high school press boxes.
How about just windows? I'd be okay with cardboard with little eye holes right here.
You're not asking for much, are you? Inside of 5 minutes left, 4:59 remaining first half. 14-0. Red Raiders into the secondary, still on his feet. Brought down at the 37-yard line. The biggest play thus far for Paulsboro as Merrick McMullen.
Again, going to Eric McMullen. This is a kid as a junior. See him at 62 carries, 475 yards, 6 touchdowns. I mentioned the couple of touchdowns against Collingswood. This is a kid that you can look for as a leader on the field when you're down by a couple of touchdowns in the South Jersey final.
Another flag here. Well, you know, Shawn, yesterday we saw quite a few penalty flags, and today certainly no different. You expect in a championship game to be relatively clean. That hasn't been the case last night or today. Offsides, Glassboro. Five yards. First down and 5 for Paulsboro. Plenty of time on this drive, 4:37 remaining in this first half. South Jersey Group 1 championship on the line, working out of the eye. Coleman hands to Tilden. Tilden, and again, just not much up the middle for this Paulsboro team today.
I mean, you know, Bolts, it's a senior, 6'5", 317 pounds. You can see why it might be difficult to move him. You know, big, strong kid. I mentioned Murray. Murray has just been fantastic for this team. He's only 5'10", 215 pounds, but his first step, you know, he jumps off the football, just jumps off the football at the line of scrimmage, and that's difficult to be able to block him for that reason. Then you add Bolts, the big fella, and this is a good defensive line.
Tilden out of the Wildcat. Tilden, and this has worked well for them. He'll have more than enough for a first down.
Oh, yeah.
As he's across midfield.
And that's a good run. That's just a strong run. That's desire right there. Going to skip his way through, get hit a couple of times near the legs, and you know, sometimes you can criticize these running backs saying, "Hey, listen, you didn't get strong enough. You know, you're getting taken down too easily," and you know, that'd be fair to say with this Paulsboro backfield. But you know, that's the indication where you have the ability to do so. You know, Tilden running with a sense of purpose in the South Jersey final. You can overcome, you know, maybe the lack of strength with a few ounces of desire.
Coleman rolls to his right. Coleman throws, dumps, and right now just having a tough time finding his touch. It's very cold, as we mentioned, and that ball just...
And we've been impressed with Billy Coleman in the past. I mean, this is a kid that can definitely throw the football. This is by far not his best day. I mean, he's just really struggling being able to find those receivers. The confidence is not there, and that's why I say, you know, just, you know, a little rocket screen. You know, try to set up a screen play. Use the Glassboro's aggression against them as they try to fight upfield. Some type of slant pattern, something to get him into some type of a rhythm, because rolling him out and trying to find receivers downfield is not working yet.
Second down and 10 for the Red Raiders. This is taking a long time. They're going to have to hustle before they have a delay of game. Tilden again, out of the Wildcat, hands it off, and a pickup of about 5 or 6 for Calvin Johnson. That was very close to being a delay of game, Shawn.
You're big into delay of games.
Well,
you need a little. That's what I'm getting you for Christmas. I'm going to get you the clicker because you are big into delay of games.
Well,
you got the sense that you know it's coming.
Well, you know, that's just the type of play where it's really inexcusable. You know, you have to be cognizant of the clock.
But you're right.
And then that's a disadvantage, of course, in high school because you don't have a play clock. Draw play. And a nice tackle made on Aaron Tilden, who will be shy of the first down.
Well, here's one of the problems with, and Paulsboro needs to run those type of draw plays, but here's one of the problems with it, is you need to be able to make that first player miss. You're going to get the opportunity probably to be one-on-one with a linebacker, you know, in that situation. Linemen come upfield, you let them kind of go, you run the draw, you're going to be one-on-one with a linebacker. As a running back, you need to make that first guy miss, and that play's going to be able to go for a first down.
They're going for it. 4th down and 3, a huge play here. Coleman, quick drop, throws, sails, incomplete. And we mentioned before that right now Coleman's just having a tough time finding his stride.
Everything's sailing high right now for Coleman. Everything. Every pass you're seeing is floating too high. Got to make some adjustments. in the second half if he's going to be able to throw the football.
Well, at this point,
'Cause he had his receiver open. The guy was open.
At this point, Paulsboro would have loved to go in with some momentum and score a touchdown. Now it's the opposite side of the coin. 2 minutes remaining, and this Glassboro offense can certainly go down the field and score here. So Paulsboro will have to tighten up their defense. James on his feet. James into the secondary, and a fine tackle made. It looked like James had a lot of clear space in front of him.
Yeah, Victor comes and makes the play. A senior, 175 pounds, is going to make a shoestring tackle on James. But this is a dominating performance. Only 14 points on the board, but Glassboro has owned this first half.
2nd down and 2 at the 48-yard line. 1 minute and 25 seconds remaining. Smith in motion, again working out of the eye. Clement pitches, finds James. James cuts it back inside. He's tripped up after about a 5-yard gain. That'll be a first down.
It was a key word in talking with Coach Neilio that when you hear this from a coach, you know that a team's going to come out playing with a little bit of fire. He said the team was embarrassed when they played Paulsboro last year in that South Jersey semifinal where they lost 35-0. When a team is embarrassed, rest assured they're going to come out. They're going to come out playing at least with some aggressive type of behavior, some type of fire in their belly. This is what we've seen so far.
We did that game for you here last year, and you know that game was just extraordinary to watch because it was so totally unexpected.
And it was at the line of scrimmage. I mean, they just beat them up at the line of scrimmage, Paulsboro, and that's where the trenches is all about technique and desire. If you get your technique down and you want it a little bit more than the guy in front of you, you're going to be able to tackle well, you're going to be able to block well, you're going to be able to dominate the most important facet of the game, which is in the trenches. At this level, or at any level, you need to be able to block and tackle, and Glassboro is doing a better job of that today.
If you're Herb Neilio right now, of course, you think, listen, if we can score a touchdown, we can put the final nail in the coffin of Paulsboro. Conversely, we don't want to give anything away here. We've seen that a pick can quickly turn in the other direction, so you kind of have to temper your offensive approach. Let's see how they do it. 1st down and 10 from the 48. Again, Clement underneath center and the eye. They'll roll to his left. Clement with a lot of time, throws it deep across the middle to Smith, and Smith drops it. What a throw by Clement.
Yeah, that was a gorgeous pass. Gorgeous pass. Smith should have came down with that one, and he knows it. He's as angry as anybody inside the stadium here. A senior, 6'1", 180 pounds, ball in his hands, thrown perfectly. And you can watch again. Great protection up front. Middle of the field wide open. You have 5 men in the box, 2 linebackers, and safety deep. Just going to get enough time. Going to throw it out. Clement, impressive arm. Man, that is a perfect spiral right over the middle. Smith not able to hang on.
In fairness to Smith, it would not have been an easy catch.
No, not easy, but one he should have had.
2nd down and 10. Again, working out of the eye. We've seen Clement's talents both with his feet and his arm. He'll hand it off to P.J. James, and James will be stopped after a holding penalty. So this play will likely be backed up again. With a minute left, you might as well take the penalty at this point. Again, it's a spot foul, so this will put the ball back into Glassboro territory. And the down will remain the same, but it'll be 2nd down and approximately 19.
That'll be interesting. I think if you're Glassboro, you just run the football.
Yep.
I wouldn't even take a 2-touchdown lead into the locker room all day against Paulsboro. You run the football. Hey, listen, you can break one also. You've shown a propensity being able to push Paulsboro around a little bit today. Give James a chance to do it with his legs.
I concur.
Make the big fella happy. I would give the ball to Shafon Davis.
And we're going to have a penalty here. James tripped up after a gain of 4 or 5 yards. May have had a motion, we do, illegal shift. So with 33.4 seconds left, they'll probably have to snap it one more time, and then they'll call it a half. And we'll get to warm up our feet. Very excited about that.
I was going to light mine on fire. Not too sure about what damage that'll do, but I'll take the risk at this point. That's right, people. I complain and whine about little things like the cold.
Well,
I do. I like to be warm. I can't stand the cold. I went to Florida for college.
did you?
Yeah, I went down to Florida. I couldn't stand it. I wanted to go
I
to
should
Syracuse.
probably know that, shouldn't I?
You should. You should, but you don't care about me.
I love you, Shawn.
Nah, you don't.
How long have we worked together? You know,
So you don't even know that. I know to the day with that.
That's why I like working with you.
Best friends since
It's
then.
like an onion. Just a new layer peeled off. I just learned something new every day. Second down and a whole bunch. We'll say 24. And a timeout called here. I'm not sure who was charged with the timeout.
That was Paulsboro. All you gotta do is look at the board out there, and then
It was Paulsboro, which I guess I'm not quite sure why, except to make sure that you don't let anybody behind you, I suppose. You just want to make sure if they throw a home run ball and you're playing center field.
you have it. Why not use it? And why not?
That's interesting thinking.
Well, you're a coach. I mean, it gives you the opportunity to coach.
Why'd you call a timeout here? Well, we had one left.
They're free. You know how many things are free in life anymore? You get 3 of them.
Second and 24. And again, I would expect this will be the last play of the half. Clement back to pass, so it may not be. Thrown up and caught. Still on his feet. Inside the 20. To the 5 and a penalty flag with 13.6 seconds left. And that's why I didn't frankly understand the timeout there.
I'm sure he told him, listen, you can't let anybody get behind you, and they didn't.
But without calling that timeout, the clock's running down. The likelihood is that play never happens.
Football is holding against Glassboro. It is a first down.
The good news for Paulsboro is for Paulsboro is the penalty will back up Glassboro out of field goal range. They don't call a timeout here. I'm a little surprised now. Herb Nelia doesn't call timeout, and now he finally calls time with 9.4 seconds.
Just going to throw the ball up, and this is, again, desire. Just going up to get the football. Christian James, nice effort trying to get back into the play. It's Tilden, but he's beat on the play. And James is able to slip out of a tackle. And just, again, poor tackling by Paulsboro at this point. And James is going to try to work his way into the end zone, not able to do so. But look, Rob, if you say, why do you call a timeout? Why do you're trying to instruct your guys. But listen, if you can't stop in 20 seconds where a team's got to go 65 yards in that one play, then listen, you don't even deserve to be in the game. I mean, you need to be able to make that play. You need to have trust in your guys to say, look, don't let anybody get behind you. Somebody get to the quarterback if they get back to pass. You're reminding them some different things that you want to make sure you guard up against. And you're just expecting that, if my guy's one-on-one and we got some safety help, we're going to be able to knock the football down. But one of the things that's concerning more is, right now, where's the pass rush from Paulsboro? I mean, Clement has all kinds of time back there to pass. There is no pass rush to speak of on these long, deep drops.
First and 10 at the 15-yard line. 9 seconds remaining in this first half. Glassboro may be able to get away with 2 plays. Clement with time, throws it into the end zone, and that falls incomplete. Out of the end zone is the ruling. So one more play here with 3.7 seconds left, and I tell you what, that was an awesome throw by Clement.
Yeah, he is really impressing me. And I'll tell you what, the Glassboro receivers are impressive as well. They go get the football. I mean, it's clear that this is a group that just goes after the football, and they're going to try to out-jump and come down with the ball.
And now it's going to be a field goal attempt here to close things out for the Bulldogs. This will be approximately 33 yards. With the wind to his back, Clement will try to put an exclamation mark on this impressive first half by the Bulldogs. Kick is up, and the kick is long enough. It's good. Glassboro will head to the locker room with tremendous amount of momentum and a 17-point lead. Stick around, second half action for you after this. Welcome back to Glassboro, second half.
And number 4, Aaron
underway.
Tilden.
Paulsboro will receive the football, taken and right up the middle. Fine return here by Turner. And again, another penalty flag down. Penalty flags have ruled the day. Here is the second touchdown.
Here's that second touchdown by Clement. Clement just driving, powering his way into the end zone, the sophomore. Yeah, he talked about playing with his brother, and he says, you know, sometimes he gets me so mad because he expects a lot out of me, and they're the brothers. They're going to lash out at one another, but he realizes his brother really tries to help him. And, you know, when he gets a long run for a touchdown and his brother's getting on him, he knows that he plays mad. He plays better when he's angry. And he says, no one inspires me more than my brother because he gets me angry and I play better when I'm mad. So playing with an older brother who's going to get on him a little bit has certainly made Clement into a better football player. And I'll tell you what, he's definitely a kid as a sophomore that you want to look for the next couple of years of taking over this Glassboro program, putting him on his back and scoring a lot of touchdowns.
Handoff, pickup of about 4 or 5 for McMullen. An inauspicious beginning for this Paulsboro Red Raiders team to start the second half. A good return negated by a holding penalty.
Well, that's what we've seen in that first half is opportunities for Paulsboro have been shut down basically because they've shot themselves in the foot. Too many mistakes and too many penalties are stalling drives.
Coleman pitches, and that's behind Tilden.
Again, it's just too much team speed on defense. We've seen that for Glassboro. Glassboro's put up a lot of points over the years. One thing that may go unnoticed, Herb Nealio was the defensive coordinator to start off with first. And, he came in and used that same defensive philosophy of 52, mirroring Paulsboro's defensive of 52, and they just get to the ball too quickly. Those plays that develop too long, Glassboro just eats them alive because they got too much team speed. So you have James, making plays behind the line of scrimmage because it's taking too long for the play to develop. Everything needs to go a little bit more of a quicker pace for Paulsboro in the second half.
3rd and 10, Coleman out of the shotgun. Takes the handoff, now flushed out of the pocket. Coleman on his feet, he's hit. He'll gain maybe a yard, so it won't officially be a sack. But 3 and out for the Red Raiders to start the second half.
Just doesn't look comfortable. I mean, the guys up front are just doing a fantastic job. You mentioned, Murray, number 56, but also Bolts has had a heck of a game. Bolts is a kid, if he gets another 70 points higher, a real intelligent kid, going to go to West Point. Like to become a history teacher, at least trying to make history here today with Glassboro, getting another championship in this 2000s.
Punt into that wind is going to be very, very short and down at the 37-yard line. So a punt that will be approximately 14 yards. And again, this is not the start that Paulsboro had envisioned.
This is a good young team, too, along the offensive front. I mentioned some of these guys. Remender, a junior. They are going to lose Bolts, a senior, the 317-pound lineman. But, Halterwanger is a sophomore. They are going to use Murray, but Klasky comes back, a junior.
So to some of the many who have gathered to watch this South Jersey Group 1 championship. First down and 10, the pitch. James on his feet, strung out. James still driving. James, and we may have a hold or a face mask. I'm not sure, but I don't know. It's hard to go 3 or 4 plays without a penalty. Seemingly.
Yeah, it's just it's ruining the flow of this South Jersey final.
They'll mark off 10 yards. It'll be first down and over 20 now.
You got to call what you see, but with as many penalties as here today, I mean, it's just ruining the flow of the game. Really for both teams. And Glassboro is able to move the football with some big plays with James running downhill, but this is one of the games just kind of moving along, and it's kind of boring
there you see
because of the penalties.
James on the day, almost at the century mark. First down and 22 from midfield. Clement rolls to his right, has a man wide open, throws across the middle. Fine catch made by Christian James. Ball thrown behind him, but James able to hold on.
I think those two have hooked up throughout this season. They certainly have, and again, terrific job of blocking up front. Too much time for Clement to have in the backfield and really having his way with the secondary. Guys are open downfield because he's getting that time.
Second down and 5 at the 33. Again, working out of the eye. First series for Glassboro in the second half. James in his backfield, cuts it back inside. Not much there. He'll pick up maybe a yard.
A nice job by Tilden, coming up, making a play
and a
behind.
penalty flag.
Yeah, of course. Making a play behind the line of scrimmage. Also cleaning up Deontay Davis. You mentioned Clement and what he's been able to do with his statistics. But he's also a terrific leader. A lot of schools looking at him. Kid likes to get dressed up a little bit before the game. They call him Hollywood. Pretty boy. Quarterback. He feeds right into that. Big play against Pennsville. I mean, he really showed how mature he's come. 4th and 4, down against Pennsville in the playoffs. 4th and 4, finds a tight end for a touchdown. Eventually won that game. And this is a kid that's become a leader on every sense, and his teammates trust him to make the right plays. A very important aspect of playing that position is having your teammates trust you.
Second down and about 20. Out of the shotgun, Clement. No keep. Taken down from behind. And we'll bring up a third down and long as the clock moves. 7:45 and counting remaining third quarter. Glassboro with a 17-0 lead. They have come out quickly and often in the first half, really controlling the line of scrimmage and have continued to flex their muscles throughout this afternoon. Clement will work out of the eye. Quick drop, throws it across the middle, and that falls incomplete. And I'm looking for a penalty flag.
Yeah, that one, now everyone in the stands want to hold there as trying to look for Antoine Alicia, tight end, 6'1", 210, coming out of the backfield. Clement trying to look for him. They're going to have to punt away. Clement.
They're looking for a flag because they think there's a penalty. I'm looking for a flag because it was 2 plays in a row.
We were on pace. Clement, he had meningitis to start the year. So he's had to battle through that. And not only do you get sick, but also you lose weight, you lose muscle mass.
Absolutely.
And for him to come back, it was a scary time for him. What another great punt.
That will find its way inside the 5-yard line. And now it's down with his feet in the end zone. That should be a touchback. It is not. He touched the ball with his feet in the end zone. That, in theory, should be a touchback.
You see Zamir Payne, a senior, getting down. And how about the special teams? You know, one of the things.
I believe it is a touchback. I don't know. We'll see. Nope. Wrong again.
I think they're going to say the Payne downed it. Number 21 down in his way. Coach Nealon, you said maybe a disadvantage might be special teams with us, slight disadvantage. Outstanding job in the kicking game.
Coleman, quick drop, throws, in coverage, picked off. Well, that was a poor decision.
Lamont
Double
Smith.
coverage blanketed all over the wideout, and little could go right with that decision.
Not sure I like the play call at this particular point of the field, but I do like the ability of trying to get him on the slants and the quick hitters. And just coming up and making a play is Lamont Smith, who read that play all the way. Coleman not seeing the defensive back coming in, and Smith has Glassboro now on the doorstep of going up by 4 scores.
Pitch, James, forward, short. Well,
Conceivably, it could be 3 if they went for 3 touchdowns and they got all the 2-point conversions if they went up by 24.
You got to believe if they score a touchdown here, that's an insurmountable lead. I know there's a lot of football left, but there's nothing to indicate that Paulsboro has the ability to move in large chunks via the ground or, as we've seen, through the air.
And it's not even the skill positions being able to make those plays. The offensive line has shown no indication that they're going to be able to open up significant holes to move the ball quickly downfield.
Clement with a full house backfield right now. Readjusts. Handoff James. James pushes forward. And again, just shy of the end zone. Well, Shawn, we had this game last year, Glassboro and Paulsboro, and everything that Paulsboro did to Glassboro, Glassboro is doing to Paulsboro this year.
I mean, they came out of the locker room. I was able to stay next to them. They were fired up. Glassboro could smell the championship. And they came out of the locker room, again, like they had started, with the pants on fire, excited.
Right up the gut, Davis. No indication. Touchdown! $23-0. Glassboro pounding the Red Raiders with 5:17 remaining in this third quarter. Quite a few people from Paulsboro had left at halftime. More are streaming out now. The point after for the Bulldogs and Clement. Kick is up, and it's good.
Corey Clement with a point after is good. That makes the score.
That time they're going to run right behind T-Dog, Tommy Rementer. A big offensive line. Again, the surge. Get it to the big guy. Let him go over the right side of the line. There you see number 69, Haltewanger. But these guys up front are just getting the job done. I mean, Tommy Rementer, Haltewanger, keep mentioning these names, but they have owned the Paulsboro defensive front.
$5:17 remaining, and this Paulsboro football team just looking for anything positive. We mentioned they started this second half with a nice return, negated by a penalty. That's been kind of the way the afternoon has gone. Kick taken at the 11-yard line by Turner. And not much there. He may get back to the 20 at best.
Turner, a sophomore. He's had a couple returns called back for some good yardage, 5'7", 155 pounds. Kind of expected the game to be a little bit closer. You see the yards. Glassboro at the half, you see the yards gained on the ground. 75 more yards on the ground is Glassboro to Paulsboro at this point going into the second half.
Coleman pitches to Tilden. And again, not a whole lot of room to operate for Tilden. And right on cue, another penalty flag, and now another one for good measure. So.
Give me one. I'm going to toss one of this. I'm going to reach.
Oh, boy. Face mask, Glassboro.
And I'm not, we're kind of joking around up here. I mean, if there's flags, if there's penalties, you gotta throw the flag. But I think there's just an excessive amount that, maybe a couple don't need to be called at this point. Too many holding calls. Just over and over again, just disrupts the flow of the game completely.
Obviously, that was a face mask. And
face mask is a face mask. Right. You have to call that. But, the amount of holding calls. You call holding on every single down.
Coleman on the draw. Hands it off to Tilden. Tilden is knocked down after gaining the first down at the 32-yard line. Remember, the clock stops after a first down in high school football.
Something a little positive. Right now, it's just small baby steps for Paulsboro. Move the chains. See if you can extend the drive. Get the ball in your playmaker's hands. See if Coleman can get on track. They're down right now by 3 touchdowns and 3 2-point conversions. Conceivably, Paulsboro can tie with 3 scores.
Coleman is sacked. Christian James, who's had himself a memorable championship game, has illustrated his work as a wide receiver and now defensively.
Not much you could do there but eat the football. No protection on that right side. Christian comes in. Brings up a 2nd and 15. Called 2nd and 16. Gonna split out Derek Burgess, a good-looking sophomore, 6'1", 170 pounds.
Coleman, back to pass, flushed out, throws underneath, in and out of the hands of Burgess. Not a whole lot going right for Paulsboro.
Nah, you know what? At this point, you might even want to say, look, let's try to get Burgess one-on-one, throw the ball up, see if he can go up and make a play for us. They need to do something downfield. There's been no attempt downfield. A lot of balls have sailed over the heads of the receivers on those short patterns. Paulsboro in the traditional eye. Glassboro runs the same offense, same defense. They know each other so well. I think at this point you got to throw a couple wrinkles in there to surprise and disguise what you're trying to do.
3rd and 16. Coleman back to pass. He's going to get a rush. Eludes one tackler. Will not elude the next one.
Big Jordan Murray coming from behind, 5'10", 215, a senior. Going to force Paulsboro to punt. Into the win, I might add. Glassboro should get, again, good field position. Just good coverage downfield. Now, this is what they call a coverage sack, and it certainly was. There's time. He's able to get out of the pocket, buy his receiver some time downfield, but there was nothing available.
And the punt will be down at the 46, so the punt will encompass approximately 20 yards. And Glassboro will take over with excellent field position. 2:41 remaining in this third quarter. On top, 24-0. At this point, it's almost just a question mark of what the score is going to be.
Yeah, but you still want to see your team fight.
Oh, absolutely.
And
there's no question about that.
You know, right now you want to try to go for the football, try to make some play on defense, try to strip the ball, and somebody's got to be in that huddle. Somebody's got to say, listen, let somebody make a play. Somebody make a play, and let's just, you know, look, we're down 24-0 right now. Let's just play and have fun.
Well, you mentioned before, Paulsboro seemingly came out flat, and there hasn't been much change in that. That's a concern. Handoff, James into the secondary. James still on his feet, driving forward. James still showing second, third, and fourth efforts. And, you know, Shawn, we mentioned at the very top, in the tees, the open, which team is going to be hungrier? I mean, at this point, it's 24-0, and you see the desire in James right here. That's really been the difference in both of these teams.
It looks like they haven't even eaten in Thanksgiving. It looks like they're just coming in here so hungry, so with the fire in their bellies to try and win a South Jersey title once again. You got guys blocking downfield, 10, 15 yards downfield, trying to look for somebody to hit. And Paulsboro looks just like they're looking for where the exits are.
1st and 10. Handoff. And not a whole lot there for Corey Clement.
You know, look, I don't want to make it sound like they're not competing. They're not out there trying, because they certainly are doing that.
Absolutely.
But, you know, you just want to see somebody in that defensive huddle, you know, get a little motion. I'm not saying, you know, a late flag or call out one of your teammates. But, you know, somebody make a play. Try to get the team fired up. Try to, you know, the sidelines, they all got their hands in their pockets. Nobody seems interested.
Now, we've seen so many times when a big hit can kind of turn the momentum and turn the emotion of the game. That's, I think, what you're talking about. Again, the handoff right up the gut, maybe a yard or two. 3rd down and long. As the clock continues to move, we approach 1 minute remaining in this 3rd quarter. The Paulsboro fans have thinned considerably. It's a very cold day, overcast, not much sun, and frankly, nothing has been very bright today for this Paulsboro football team. And a lot of that is because of how well Glassboro has been coached and played, frankly. Inside of 50 seconds, the handoff. It's James. James on his feet, and he'll be shy of the 1st down, and that'll bring up a 4th down and short, and you have to suspect they're going to go for it here.
Yeah, 4th and short, the way your offensive line is played, you're not going to gain much anyway if you try and even consider punting and angling it toward the sideline, or even going for a field goal. It's out of your range, so there's no doubt. I mean, you're going for it here.
And I believe they will not have to snap the ball before time runs out, but it looks like they're going to do it anyway. 11 seconds remaining. Clement underneath center. Down to 7. And he will. He pitches. James strings it outside. James drives forward, and James has enough for the 1st down. That'll do it for 3/4 of play. It's been all Glassboro in the South Jersey Group 1 championship. They lead the Red Raiders 24-0. Welcome back. There was a penalty flag, so the 3rd quarter cannot end on a penalty. It was against the Red Raiders, and Glassboro will hand it off to James, and this will be the last play of the 3rd quarter. We'll step away, 24-0, unless, of course, there's another penalty flag. In fact, you know what? We're going to stay here.
Why not?
Why go away?
Why not? If we went away, I'd be afraid we would be flagged. I would think somehow you and I would be flagged. Excessive talking, I don't know what it would be, but
I've seen more flags today than your high school report card.
More flags than the United Nations.
That's right. Well, I don't know. 1 quarter to play here, 24-0. The Red Raiders with their back to the end zone, and I guess at this point it's just a question of whether or not they can score and whether they can keep the lead under the 35-point difference that they put on Glassboro the year prior.
It wouldn't be a achievement for them at all. They're going to walk away from here disappointed with their play, I'm sure. I mean, we said a lot about how they've come out and maybe being a little bit flat, but no one's more disappointed right now than the kids on the opposite sideline wearing red and white.
Let's talk about what happened a couple of weeks ago. They made a YouTube video where they taunted Woodbury. I hadn't seen it, but apparently there was a lot of foul language involved, and it resulted in suspensions. You have to believe that that's somehow playing into what's transpiring today. They weren't able to play against West Deptford, and
a lot of people were upset about that. And there was a circulation of a Woodbury video that actually was made prior to the Paulsboro video, and the Paulsboro kids said, "Listen, we're just retaliating," which I don't buy either. They obviously made a mistake, but here's my question throughout all this is, I don't know if it was on school property when they made the video. I don't know where you draw the line with this whole thing, but some derogatory things, yeah, it's out of taste. It's definitely something that you don't, when you want to teach your kid and use this as a learning tool and say, listen, you don't make these mistakes. Paulsboro is a class program.
Absolutely.
I mean, from Glenn Howard, you don't see kids, getting personal fouls and losing their cool. It just doesn't happen.
No.
I don't care if that's in football, the wrestling room with Coach Paul Marina. I mean, it's usually a disciplined program.
Yep.
But where do you draw the line with this? You think there's other kids out there in high school making videos that are on YouTube that are, distasteful? I guarantee there is.
Third down, Clement is brought down at about the 2. That'll bring up a 4th down and goal.
And I don't know. I honestly, I don't even know what the answer is, nor do I have an opinion or want to give mine. I just know I'm saying, listen, what do you do? Because that there's those things out there. Do you suspend every single kid who puts something on the internet? If you're going to do that, I think you're going to. It's hard to police it. So I don't know how how that will. If there will be something in the future that may come of this.
4th down and goal from the 3. Clement with Davis in the backfield. Quick drop, screen pass, setting it up for P.J. James, touchdown. No flags. 2 accomplishments on the play. 30-0.
Well, if we went to break, I was seriously going to try to grab them and hide them. I was going to run down there, hide everybody's flags.
I like the way you think.
We're poking some fun. Listen, there's times I've announced, and I should have had flags thrown on me. I've had some bad games.
Extra point is up, and it's bounced, thrown, picked off, and a penalty flag. There is a flag. I'm not being facetious.
I'm sure.
And now they say no flag.
He just wanted to throw.
It's just a reaction.
You see the screen out to James. James going to do the rest. Get himself into the end zone. Another touchdown for James. The James brothers, they provide such a spark here. Again, just really getting healthy again. Both of the kids, and opportunity to play in the final and play healthy for pretty much the first time during the game, or first time during the year. That's certainly a plus for Glassboro going into this one. And I think Herb Nealio had to be excited coming into this, saying, listen, finally, we got everybody back. Finally, everybody's healthy. I knew the only guy, Montel Burt, who had a couple of shoulder separations throughout the course of the year. He just had to shut him down. He's a senior. You feel bad for a kid like that who doesn't get to play on the field. You have a South Jersey final as a senior. But they're relatively healthy at the right time of the year and playing with a lot of confidence, and it's shown with a 30-0 lead here. Now it's just a matter of that time expiring, and they can call themselves 2010 champions.
Tilden fumbles the ball at the 20-yard line. He picks it up and now finds a seam, and he'll be wrestled down at about the 30. 10:08 left, fourth quarter, and it's been all Glassboro.
And I just want to make it clear with the YouTube, because sometimes I say things and I leave them open, and the people say, what a moron. but I'm not saying that they shouldn't have been suspended, you know. I'm just saying
you're Switzerland on this
I
issue.
just don't know where, I don't know where you draw the line here, because there's so many other kids, I'm sure, that do that.
You're just trying to illustrate that there's no easy decision here.
No,
You could argue either way.
I think it should be, you know, it's a learning tool for all the coaches. And we heard Frank Delano in his post-game championship speech to his team on the field saying, listen, I can't wait to see Haddonfield beats West Effort, South Jersey champions.
Penalty flag.
And but I don't want to hear anything that 7 kids do something stupid. YouTube video, you know, I mean, that's some of the things now you got as a coach. You know, again, use it as a learning tool. So you have to say, listen, don't do anything dumb. It's great with the technology. We're big fans of it, obviously, being in this type of a business. But it allows some opportunity for kids when they're being stupid, being dumb, to broadcast that to the rest of South Jersey and the rest of the world, for that matter.
A legal man downfield on that call. Well, you know, it's a different era than when you and I grew up. I mean, obviously it was pre-internet. Now you have cell phones that can take video, and, you know, you have Facebook. Last year, I believe it was, one of the players on the Williamstown basketball team had badmouthed the coach on Facebook. They got suspended. That was controversial. And, you know, Shawn, where would you be today if someone had a video camera after all the things that you've done in your life? Probably not here on television.
I'd rather not get into that.
But of course, that could be said of anybody. Everybody does these things, and sometimes, you know, it really, the technology is a great thing, but it really forces these kids to be adults prior to them having the ability to make those type of decisions.
Well, you know, nowadays they have the internet and YouTube. My days they had still cameras and those type of things. Your day they had hieroglyphics, you know, chip away some stones. And because what Rob Christ
I
did this
remember
weekend.
when they came up with the wheel. That was so exciting. There is a timeout. It's not a penalty flag.
9:14 is all that remains in this game.
So, you know, again, you mentioned before in terms of you don't know whether or not it's the right answer as far as them being suspended or the wrong answer, but let's go back to the original question. How much do you think the fact that they haven't played or were subject to that punishment or realized that they were wrong, or maybe some of them don't even think they were wrong? How much, the whole distraction as a whole, let's encapsulate it just merely calling it as a distraction, how much does it play into today's result?
I think slightly, but I don't think as much as what I think people in the media would try to, you know, sensationalize it. I don't think that. I think basically they just got beat up at the line of scrimmage, and, you know, Glassboro outplayed them in a lot of different facets of the game.
Picked off. P.J. James on his feet. He's on his way. P.J. James, touchdown.
What a game. What a game by P.J. James. Cap off his career here at Glassboro in dramatic fashion. He has dominated
6:59
in all areas. You know, and YouTube didn't cause that interception. YouTube didn't cause the missed tackle to prevent. Right now, it's just execution and problems that have existed on the offensive side of the football and the defensive side of the football for Paulsboro, and they just didn't come in as you would expect a Paulsboro team to come in. I think there's more talent, Rob, with this Glassboro team.
Kick is blocked. Well, the one thing that Glassboro struggled with in the second half was extra points, but They're frankly not needed. 36-0.
Give Aaron Tilden a little credit there. Still not quitting. You could easily, come on, point after attempt. You don't need to, what's it going to matter? Another point, but he's coming in there trying to make a play.
Well, it's kind of poignant. 36-0 Glassboro with one more point than Paulsboro had last year in this matchup. Here's the play, Shawn.
Yeah, here it is. It's going to try to roll out. Billy Coleman not having his best day. Going to try to slip one right over the top of the linebackers. And a little tip. The grab. I'm going to slip out of a couple of tackles here. One slip. Another attempt. And right there, I don't give Derek Burgess, I'm not going to get on him too much because what he's trying to do right there is strip the football. He's trying to make a play on the football, not so much bring down the receiver, and I can't blame him at this point. You got to try to make something happen to get that ball back. Already down by 4 touchdowns.
Not many people remain from Paulsboro, and conversely, not many people have left from Glassboro. Kick taken at the 25-yard line, and again, Paulsboro will start with possession deep in their own end, about the 35-yard line, with 6 minutes and 51 seconds remaining.
I'm considering leaving you. It's chilly.
Are you cold?
There you go.
Got a big Go PJ sign.
Well,
well, he's been going all day. I tell you, he's been like the Energizer Bunny.
Uh-huh.
And his brother Christian hasn't done too poorly himself.
No.
You think
Clement, there's a handful of guys, and I got to give it to the guys up front as well. I've talked about them a lot throughout this game, but the offensive and defensive lines have been fantastic. Shafon Davis playing that fullback and linebacker position has been terrific. James on both sides of the football, the secondary, has been impeccable in coverage. There's been so many times they just can't go anywhere with the football. And, Billy Coleman just basically trying to make something happen.
Coleman's pass falls incomplete. Intended for Steve Warren.
One of the things not mentioned that we've talked about, and which deals with discipline and not being able to get into the playoffs, is Pennsgrove. Pennsgrove was maybe the most talented team from top to bottom, besides maybe Glassboro and Woodbury. Because Woodbury was a team that I thought was really talented. They had a very good offensive and defensive line, good skill position players, and fell victim to Paulsboro. Just came out and beat the Thundering Herd in a rematch. But Pennsgrove, coached by Kemp Card down there in Salem County, lost to Glassboro, I believe by a point at the beginning of the season, 13-12. Got into a fight during a game where more than three kids were ejected. I believe it was 3 kids ejected against Salem. And because of that, because there was 3 kids ejected in one game, they were prohibited from playing in playoffs in the NJSIA. So Pennsgrove was not allowed to play in the tournament, but that was a team that I thought was really built to make a run for a championship. A lot of those kids, Malcolm Chase, Kai Brown, guys who had been there for a few years, and they had the ability to, really compete, I think, for a South Jersey title. Did not make it.
Well, we mentioned this last year, Glassboro having to have the mercy clock continue, and that's the case again this year, except the other side of the football, despite the fact that it's an incomplete pass on the play previous, the clock stops.
On change of possession.
Excuse me, it didn't stop last time. Now on a change of possession, it will stop.
Stops for just a second. Once they set the change, it goes. And I don't know if mercy clock is better.
You don't like that term, mercy clock? What term would you use? Fast forward?
Thank the heavens that it's moving the clock. I don't know, something that's mercy seems a negative thing. I think when you're at this point, everybody in the stadium is happy that thing's moving. Both teams, they want to just get this done.
I don't know what I guess they just call it a running clock. I guess they don't necessarily call it a mercy clock.
Well, they got the mercy rule in baseball.
What's that?
Running clock. I think it's a running clock. Mercy rule is in baseball, I think, is the proper term for when a team goes up by more than 10 runs.
Director Stan Ritter coined the term mercy clock, combining both the baseball terminology and the football. Very cutting edge on the part of our director.
Yeah, he certainly is. Oh, man.
That is
cruel.
Not a good feeling when it's warm outside. Trust me. I've had that happen. I've had Gatorade thrown on me a couple times as a coach. And I, of course, coach in the spring. It didn't feel good. Today, it's not going to feel any better.
No. It's just cruel and unusual punishment. It's going to be dished out to probably Coach Neely.
It looks like they're trying to make sure there's plenty of ice in there as well.
Yeah, just in case it's not cold enough.
Davis right up the middle. We'll have enough for a first down. Clock will continue to move.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Neely has to continue coaching in this one, so he's not able to pay attention. But at this point, I turn to one of my assistants and say, listen, your job is to protect my back. And if you don't, I swear to God, I'll fire you. There's no way water's getting dumped on me today. And if it does, it's your job.
His concern may be more so for the sideline and the frozen water as opposed to the game at this point.
Yeah, I'd be concerned.
Green with the carry again, picks up about a yard. Will bring up second down and a long 9 for the Bulldogs. 3 minutes, 37
we had
seconds
that
to go.
The one time when Woodbury won the championship where they dumped the ice water, the Gatorade on the Woodbury coach, and we got some of the byproduct, the spillage.
And that was a basketball game. Yes. That was indoors.
Yeah. Second down and 9. Clock continuing to move. 3 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. Right up the middle. Third down.
What I'm going to do with you one of these years, I'm just going to grab my notes and throw them at you. Be the equivalent of a Gatorade shower.
Frankly, I'm surprised it's taken this long. Waiting for some projectile every time I come here. So this is going to be the game. Third down and 6.
Like right now you have
Rothmiller on the carry.
Got maybe one of my favorite names on this Glassboro roster playing offensive tackle, a junior, 6'1", 250 pounds. Probably see some action next year for Glassboro. Tom Petty.
Oh, yeah. He's a heartbreaker.
Mm-hmm. Running down a dream.
I'm trying to run through the Tom Petty catalog in my mind, but it's
another face in the crowd.
Yeah. It's not coming. 1:45 left. 4th down here for the Bulldogs. Pitch. Rothmiller. And he'll be stopped. And a change of possession now. The Red Raiders will take over with 1:30 remaining.
I'm surprised. You got Mary Jane's Last Dance. You're So Bad.
I think I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. I'm just cold.
I hear you.
There's a one song I keep thinking of, and I see the video, but I can't think of the song.
I'm thinking of great Tom Petty songs, and I look at you. I usually think You're So Bad would come to mind.
See, when I grew up, bad was good, so I'm going to take that as a compliment.
There you go. Back in the disco era.
Coleman throws right up the middle for McMullen. And down to 40 seconds remaining. They may have time for 1 or 2 more plays, but that'll be about it. "25 seconds. This very well may be the last play of the afternoon. Coleman, a deep drop, not much pressure. Coleman now flushed out of the pocket. He's sacked, and fittingly, that will likely be the last play this afternoon. As Herb Nealio able to avoid most of the Gatorade, and the Glassboro Bulldogs celebrate as they are the 2010 South Jersey Group 1 champions. Well, Glassboro really controlled this game from the get-go. An impressive drive to start things. Our own Shawn Leary on his way down to the field to grab the coaching staff and the players, but they started the game at their own 30-yard line. A long, protracted drive, culminating in a touchdown, and they never looked back. Glassboro was certainly on their game today. Very, very well-executed game plan, and the Bulldogs will reclaim the championship that they have held in previous years. Stick around, post-game interviews and a wrap as Glassboro blanks Paulsboro 36-0 in the South Jersey Group 1 championship.
Welcome back to Glassboro High School. Glassboro victorious 36-0 over Paulsboro. South Jersey Group 1 championship game. Rob Christ here with winning head coach Herb Nealio. And coach, let's go back to the semifinals. First half, it looked like you didn't really have a chance. Ever since then, you guys have put it into overdrive. I mean, that's a true credit to your players and also you as a coach.
Well, it's been a crazy year, up and downs. We had a lot of kids hurt. The kids sucked it up. From that Pennsville game on, we were up 7-0 and went down 21-0. And at halftime, the kids weren't, there was no doubt in their minds, they were going to come back and win that game. And it's been ever since then we've been playing good football.
Coach, I've been so impressed just watching you over the years. You always seem relatively calm, and it seems as though your team has kind of taken on that personality. In that Pennsville game, they waited it out, and again, in this game, they came out with a little fire in their belly.
No, hey, we're blessed here with some great athletes. I just try not to mess it up, that's all. It was a great game plan by offense coordinator Greg Macaroon today. I mean, the offense played great, defense played great. It was a team effort.
Coming into this game, again, I know the last time we spoke you had some concerns about how hungry they were. Did you have a sense that the performance would be so dominating today?
No, I think we had a great week of practice. Kids came, the kids were early to practice, they worked hard, we had a good week of practice, and that's where it starts. So as long as they have a good week of practice and bust their butt and do what they're supposed to do, good things will happen.
Last question, is this getting old hat for you?
No, never, never.
Congratulations, I know you want to be with your team. Let's throw it over to Shawn Leary.
Here with a couple stars of the game. Going to start with Charles Bolts, one of the key contributors on the offensive and defensive line. And, just manhandled Paulsboro in this one. I mean, they come out, they played a heck of a game against Woodbury. You guys, I'm sure, took a look and seen what they were able to do. But certainly in the offensive and defensive line, so important for you guys to establish that. What did you guys talk about at the beginning of the pregame?
We pretty much just talked about last year when they came in here and, beat us 35-0. Just, we got to take that anger that we had last year, put it in, and just wreck them. And that's what we did. We just had to overpower the line. They had a big line, quick, they were good. I'll give it to them. My hat's off to Paulsboro, but we just had to play more physical football, and we did.
How much did that 35-0 score stick with you guys through that year?
The whole year, all through off season. With Penns Grove, in the beginning of the season, but we were still focused on Paulsboro. We went to Paulsboro more than anything else, and we just used all that anger. Ever since Pennsville, we were talking about Paulsboro and all that anger, and just let it build up, and let it out today.
Congratulations to you. Best of luck in your future. And we'll talk to you for a minute here. This is a huge win for you guys to win a championship under your leadership. You talked about the meningitis in the beginning of the year and having to go through that. Tell me about your year and really a roller coaster season for you.
It's definitely been a roller coaster year. Ups and downs throughout the whole year. And it's, I can only thank God. And He works in so many mysterious ways. I want to thank you, God. Thank you. And I want to thank my offensive line for playing an outstanding game, out of this world. They play out of their minds tonight. And I want to thank my mom, too. And it's a blessing. It's just a blessing.
How dynamic is your little brother as a running back? Because he looks like he's the next up-and-coming star. But he certainly played a key role, not only tonight, but throughout the entire season, playing 5 different positions, doing a lot, picking up where guys were getting injured. This wasn't a season where everything came together. You guys endured a lot of injuries and had to sub guys in and out at positions they weren't even used to playing.
Yes, my little brother, I can only say, you can only watch. It's ridiculous. He's so young, and I feel like he's only going to grow. And number 6 will be, I think, playing on Sundays one day. And this team deserves all of this. I mean, at the beginning of the year, they said that we were going to be 4-4, and I think we proved everybody wrong. So,
congratulations to you. Terrific job leading as the quarterback of this team. I'm going to bring PJ in. You were all over the field today. I mean, you certainly played a huge factor. You and your brother banged up pretty much the entire season. Yeah. I mean, you finally had to say, when are we going to be healthy? Yeah. But you're able to pull that together. But talk about the season, how you had all those injuries, and how you were able to come back through that.
I mean, it was a tough season. I have to sit out a few games and watch my team. But I mean, my team put up with me. They had my back through all the games that I missed, and they played for me. So I came back and did it for them. Gave it my all.
Playing against Paulsboro, I guess you guys wanted Paulsboro, obviously, with that rivalry and the tradition there. But you guys are kind of making a little name for yourselves here at the latter end of the 2000. I know last couple seasons you guys have really performed extremely well. How important was it to not only to win today, but send a message that we're the team to beat in Group 1?
I mean, it was really important to send a message. I mean, throughout the year, we've been doubted a lot. Beginning of the year, I remember I read a newspaper that said we're going to go 4-4 this year. We've been doubted the whole year, and I mean, it was great to win this game. Payback, they got us last year. We had to get them this year.
Well, best of luck to you. Congratulations on the championship. Another one here for Glassboro, and you can see, this is a group that really likes each other, and that, they don't really point out to the individual achievements, but led by their quarterback, and that just goes to show you right there. Leadership at that position, so important. He made sure that he wanted to have his linemen in the picture with him. I think that says a lot about the character of not only your quarterback and your leader, but really the tight-knit group that you have here at Glassboro.
Well, I think they demonstrated their character, as I was talking to Herb Nealio, from the first half of that Pennsville game when they were up against it. Since then, they've really illustrated their resiliency, and no surprise to me that Glassboro comes out as the champion. The only surprise was the score.
Exactly. I thought the game was going to be a lot closer, and I think Paulsboro really came in. I don't know if you call it cocky. We've been hearing that a lot lately. I just don't think that they were ready to play football. If we lost because we were cocky with this game, hey, look, you came in, you got beat up a little bit, and you got to look at yourself and say, listen, I did not give my best. The great thing about it is if you're an underclassman, you got next year. You got that opportunity to wipe away some of the foulness of losing in such a big game, South Jersey final, and really getting beat up. Conversely, you got to give credit to Glassboro. What an outstanding season for them to come through a lot of adversity, tremendous amount of injuries, losing to Pennsville, losing to Camden, missing this guy, missing that guy, and to bring it all here and really lay it out on the field. 36-0 in the South Jersey final. I don't care against who or for what and how Paulsboro played. That is a remarkable score for Glassboro.
Well, quite an exclamation point to a fine 2010 Scholastic season. We've seen quite a bit here on the Gloucester County Educational Network. And again, a couple of championship games to wrap up our coverage. I want to thank all of you for joining us throughout the fall season. For my partner, Shawn Leary, my director, Stan Ritter. We always have a tremendous crew. I'm Rob Chris. Thanks for joining us. Again, the final score: Glassboro defeats Paulsboro 36-0. They are your South Jersey Group 1 champions for 2010. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everybody.